Let's say you have a corporate job and travel a lot for whatever it is you're doing to pay rent. And to stay up to date with everything that is going on between your esteemed colleagues, you need a laptop. Nothing flashy, nothing fancy, but something of high quality with a very good keyboard, since, well, those emails and briefings do not write themselves. Something with all the ports, since who wants to carry dongles in this day and age, and something with enough performance for all of your daily stuff without giving you sweaty palms or burn thighs should you do something heavier every now and then. And probably most importantly, good battery life, since you do not want to choose your favorite place in the coffee shop around the corner based on how far it is to the next outlet. Well, meet the Lenovo ThinkPad T14s, which pretty much ticks all the boxes for all of your remote work endeavors, and we had the chance to test it in its Qualcomm, AMD and Intel flavors. Since we are also right in the middle of all those juicy RTX 5000 laptop reviews, this will be a shorter video than usual, which is meant as more of a general overview for you. So if you're interested in a particular configuration, I will leave the links to our in-depth written reviews in the description below. And with that out of the way, let's see which CPU platform is the best fit for all of your on-the-go business needs. Before we get to performance though, let me quickly give you an overview about the T14s and our individual review configs. The 14-incher basically gives you the well-known ThinkPad experience, so for everyone who was put off by the X9, you will feel right at home with the dark grey, almost black, soft-touch chassis that is lightweight, well-made and sturdy. Please be aware that our Intel model is basically a Gen 5, while both the Qualcomm and AMD Strixpoint configs are of the refined Gen 6 variant. But since there are almost no differences between them, we will still add the Intel-powered ThinkPad to our comparison today. And while we are talking about specs, apart from the different RAM capacities and speeds, and of course the different CPUs, pretty much everything else is identical, even down to the low-power Full HD display, which should help to equalize our battery tests in the end. And speaking of the display, it's well suited for spreadsheets, emails and surfing the web. But for everyone expecting a bit more eye candy, you will surely be a bit disappointed. But our measurements reveal decent brightness results, great contrast for an IPS and solid factory calibration and color gamut coverage. If you do want something a bit more extra, Lenovo also offers a pretty nice matte OLED option if you want to enjoy your favorite Netflix shows with a bit of a nicer visual experience. When it comes to ports, the sleek 14-incher punches way above its weight class with a pair of USB-C Thunderbolt 4s, and yes, even for the AMD model, HDMI and audio on the left and 2 USB-As on the right. Unfortunately, you do not get a lot in terms of upgrade or repair options apart from a single NVMe slot in the common 2280 variant for the AMD and Intel models, whereas the Qualcomm T14s has to make do with the smaller 2242 option. This leaves us with inputs before we get to our performance results, and with the iconic trackpoint, dedicated physical buttons above the touchpad, which is unfortunately not glass by the way, and the usual keyboard experience, you should hardly find a lot to complain about here. You get about 1.5mm of travel, which is very generous for a laptop of this size, and the layout should work well for most use cases. And while the trackpad is plastic, it still feels quite nice and allows for reliable navigation around the OS without any problems. Alright, so let's talk performance. How do AMD's 8 Strixpoint cores and the integrated 880M fare against Qualcomm's X Elite, which bets on 12 cores, and Intel's aging Meteor Lake Core Ultra 5 125U, betting on the usual hybrid architecture with 2 performance, 8 efficiency and 2 low-power E-cores? Comparing isolated CPU performance in Cinebench gives us the same results for the Snapdragon and Strixpoint-powered T14s, with Qualcomm having a slight lead and a pretty sizable difference for both to the Meteor Lake Core Ultra in both single and multi-core scenarios. I also added the ThinkPad X9 14 to our comparisons, so you can get an idea of how a Lunar Lake-based T14s could perform. Crossmark put the Team Red ThinkPad way ahead of its siblings, while the X9 performs even better. But truth to be told, if you do not run into any compatibility problems, you will probably not feel a noticeable difference between these puppies. Still, if you want to performance headroom, the AMD model is definitely the way to go. The same story continues in our synthetic GPU tests, with AMD taking a solid lead, while the Core Ultra even has to yield to Qualcomm here. And while you will probably not use any of these for games, if you do want to unwind with some virtual entertainment after a long day at the office, again the AMD-based T14s is your best bet in this regard. This leaves us with battery life, and since all of our T14s have the same battery capacity of 58 watt-hours, this allows for a true apples-to-apples comparison. And, well, the Intel model is alright, the AMD model is good, but the real winner is Qualcomm here, which enables the T14s to run for more than 22 hours, which is actually pretty insane. So if you really want to be as flexible as possible, the Snapdragon-powered ThinkPad takes the cake here. But which is the best one overall? Well, it's pretty clear that you should not really opt for the Core Ultra-powered model, because it's basically last gen and Lenovo already announced an Arrow Lake H and Lunar Lake update. And we have samples on the way already, so keep an eye on the website if you're interested in those. And truth to be told, there's not a clear winner between the other two, so if you do not use a lot of very specialized software and want the longest possible battery life, get the Snapdragon variant. If you want a bit more performance headroom and do not want to deal with any compatibility shenanigans, get the AMD model. Again, if you want more information about any of the ThinkPads we discussed today, the links to our much more detailed written reviews are in the description below. That should also be it for today. Thanks a ton for watching, and please do me the favor of hitting that like and sub button on your way out. My name is Alex, you have been fantastic, and I cannot wait to see you all in the next one. Take care.